Matias is putting together Lego roses right now.
Yeah, this is our dining room decor that Eliza loves to smash. And I've repaired dozens of times now. We have company coming later today, so got to get the Lego roses presentable.
There we go. You didn't need instructions for that either.
Nope.
Which I'm impressed by, because I need instructions for... Well, one came off.
Times is hard.
There it is.
Times is hard.
Let's see.
Nice.
And the unnamed puppy has chilled out.
For now. Just keeping watch.
Got all that out of her system. Is she not sleeping?
No, she might be, but she's usually like waiting for a dog to walk by so she can freak out at it. So probably get a taste of that. Cheers to you, sir.
Buddy. Happy Saturday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm drinking red wine out of a Guys and Dolls glass. A show I was not in because I decided to do a little show called Eastland.
Oh, that was a beautiful show.
I loved it.
They're both good shows, but Eastland was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that one. It still haunts me.
Yeah.
Like if the music comes on like my iPod on shuffle. I just said iPod. If my music comes on my iPod on shuffle, it hits me.
Yeah.
Especially like Into the River. Uh-oh.
Emergency.
Oh boy.
Sylvi, hey.
Did I say anything related to you? Are you just trying to tell me you really liked Eastland too, Sylvi?
Weird cue.
Right? I don't know what happened there.
Hey, Sylvi, go on.
What you doing back there, puppy?
Snort, snort, snort.
Snort, snort, snort. You're doing good dog stuff back there. I'm not going to lie. Oh, is the DOG word. Did I say dog when I was talking about Eastland? Was there a dog in Eastland?
No.
I don't remember.
No. Sylvia's like, I come from the river.
Was it River? Did River trigger you?
Kind of seems like it.
Hi, Sylvi.
Hey, Sylvi, go on. Place. That's not your place. Sylvi, place. Good girl.
There you go. Good, Sylvi. Wow, your ears are all the way up.
Like satellite dishes. I live like one towards the outside and one towards us.
She's got ears like a rabbit, man.
Yep.
It's awesome. I think that's basically the soft open. I think that's how I'm starting the episode.
Yeah. This is live Twin Portals.
Right. Live.
Baby.
It's all live until we record it.
Just if you're listening now, just imagine that it's live because we are going to be so full of life that you couldn't even tell the difference.
This is legit the start of the episode.
Yes.
I'm just going to roll into it like this. It's chill time. This is essentially we had a little window in the schedule. October is very busy because theater started opening back up, and everybody in Twin Portals, save for me, is heavily involved in theater now. Again, I should say.
You and I, sir.
No, you're doing stuff. I bet. I think.
No, me and you are the working stiffs.
Oh, God.
I mean, not that, Kendra and Beth work a lot too, and Justin, of course. Justin at least is now free of his parental burdens.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah. So he can kind of focus on his passions.
Yeah. He can just kind of tell them to go not die someplace. Go over there. Don't die. I will see you on Thanksgiving.
I think that's pretty much how it goes once your kid turns 18. Yeah. You just give him a little like, hey, you. It's your brain. God damn it.
And
bye.
And being the producer, I'm not allowed to have kids. So I'm holding on to that.
It's kind of sad, Scott.
That's the thing.
Do you want to step down from producing?
No.
So you can have a kid?
No.
Okay.
And I don't want to trade roles and take yours, I'll be honest with you. I would not do well at it, I don't think.
She's wonderful.
I bet she's fantastic, and I would ruin that.
I can't rest my face on my hand right now because I have so many bruises on my face.
Why?
From her punching and kicking. And not like intentionally like violent, but just like, it's like she's a monkey, like her snap reaction if you try to force her to do something is to like writhe and just thrash and
she's 2 in years.
It's
now,
not
correct?
her. She's 2 as of last Monday. Yep, she's
nice.
2 in 5 or 6 days now. So, yeah, she uses her head actually more than anything. She just slams into things with her head.
She's a head butter?
Yeah, so I've got like a big bruise on my temple right now.
Oh, no.
Is what it is.
So that's why we're day drinking wine.
I've started drinking more wine this week, oddly enough.
I love it.
A tasteful amount. I'm trying to get back to my Spanish culture a little bit. I'm feeling really out of touch.
Okay, well, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, what's the tasteful amount of wine midday? And granted, it is Saturday.
A glass?
A glass?
Maybe 2 if you don't have much to do in the evening.
Okay. I buy that. Yeah. And the Spanish roots.
What about the Spanish roots?
Yeah, elaborate on them if you don't mind.
Well, my dad's Spanish, and he moved to the U.S. He has 6 siblings, five or 6 siblings. I lose count, and they're all back in Spain along with his parents and all my cousins on his side.
Nice.
And so he's kind of the black sheep. Not that he has any ill will with his family, but he just kind of decided to stick it out here, and he met my mom and had me and my sister, and that's kind of how we ended up here.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
And then you've gone over there, right?
Yeah. So when I was growing up, we were able to go over there every few years, like every 3 to 6 years, and spend a few weeks at a time there. Mm-hmm. And it is a very different experience than the U.S. You know, it's so familial and community based. I don't know. There's just a much more like my we always stay at my abuela's house, my grandma's house, and she lives in this big high-rise apartment in the middle of Madrid. And it's a tiny apartment. It's like 2 tiny rooms and a couple bedrooms. But like the whole family, like aunts and uncles and cousins will pack in like once or twice a day the whole time we're there. Like they'll all set aside all their free time to just like make meals and get together for at least a couple hours every day and like cook a huge fish dinner. It's always fish of some kind.
Yeah.
Like mussels or octopus or whatever random Spanish fish.
I'm bad with my Spain geography. Is Madrid on the coast or is it landlocked?
Madrid's in the center of Spain.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
But fresh fish is big.
Yeah, well, it's not as good as the coast fish, but
suppose,
they like, there's a big fish commerce movement in Spain because everyone eats it all the time.
So you have like 14 Thanksgivings while you're there. Like kind of. Everybody gets in. Food is a big celebration.
Yeah, and then wine, of course. There's always a big salad. There's always wine or beers, whatever is affordable and available. When was the last time you were there? I'm assuming not last year. It's been a long time. The last time I was there was maybe like 2015, 2016.
Okay, so you're due for a trip.
Yes.
You're due for a trip for sure.
Yep.
Do you ever consider bringing beer made with Lake Superior water to Spain? Because
I would have to figure out how to get it through customs, but yeah.
You check a bag if you can. I mean, if you can check another bag. This is what I did when I went out to Seattle. So I went out to the Penny Arcade Expo in 2018.
Yep.
And we were, fruit fly.
Yep.
So that's, I was watching you try to decide between killing the fruit fly and hitting the $400 microphone, right. Which was sweet because I'm like,
maybe I can pinch it. Like
what's he going to do? What's the solution here?
Yeah.
So in 2018, I went out to PAX, and this was right after we had started talking about making this show. Mm-hmm. It's like we had started preliminary sort of discussions about it. And when I went out there, I decided they had this big sort of booming craft beer, craft cider sort of culture going too, kind of like here. And I wanted to bring a bunch of beer from out here, beer and alcohol. So working at Bent Paddle and Blacklist a bunch at the time, I was able to get them to sort of sponsor this by giving me some free beer. And so I got beer and stickers, and I weighed out, I think it was like 45 pounds of beer into a suitcase.
Yeah.
And then a bottle of Vikra as well. I can't remember what it was, probably gin. And so I bring 45 pounds of beer not on the plane, it was under the plane, out to Seattle. And then I get there the day before the convention starts. So my duties as a beer fairy, I have like 6 hours to do it from the time I get settled to when I'm probably going to get to bed because I got the convention at 10 a.m. in the morning.
Just the concept of a beer fairy is wonderful, first of all.
I know, and you can spell it however you want. Ferr or Fair, whatever. I don't care.
Small aside, there's a D&D monster from like 2nd edition called a Clericon, which is like a beer leprechaun. They're like leprechauns that haunt wine cellars and beer cellars and just like get drunk and share wine. Anyway, continue.
I'm very upset that you brought D&D into this.
Sorry.
So I ended up packing I bring in a suitcase, and then I got a backpack that I brought along too, because I'll be walking around the convention. And so I took a quantity of beer in a backpack, and I'm walking 5 miles through Seattle to get to Urban Family Brewing Company, which was the second spot. The first spot was so busy, I'm like, nobody has time to talk to me. So I'm not even going to explain the story about how I just brought alcohol into their establishment. So I go to Urban Family, which specialized in sours, which I found out as soon as I tasted one that I was really into. I walk out there. I keep passing all these bikes, these green bikes, because apparently they've got that system where you can just pick up a bike and ride it someplace.
Right.
I know nothing about that because I'm dumb. We don't have that here, and I'm too stupid to Google something at the moment. So I just walk the whole way, the whole time. And it's warm out, too, because it's August in Seattle. Get there and try a flight of that. I said, well, what do you guys recommend? I'm from out of town. What do you guys recommend? And they say, this. I'll take it. And so they pour it, and I say, so, hey, you guys ever try anything else from, like, say, Midwest? No. It's like, well, I happen to have a backpack full of beer. Craft beer from Minnesota, not like Hams or Surly or anything mass produced. It's, kind of like, what? Their eyes get real bright. I open my backpack and I got all these rewards.
The beer ferry.
From the beer ferry. Dropped them off, and we ended up hanging out for a long time. They ended up setting me up with a free Uber so I could get back to the hotel so I wouldn't have to walk back.
Nice.
I don't remember how we started this conversation.
Me neither. You were talking about
bringing beer to Seattle.
Yeah.
Or to Madrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up doing that. I ended up giving some of it away. I think I left some in the hotel. And I ended up drinking like beer mimosas for breakfast because I'm low-key alcoholic.
Sounds very pleasant.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry, that went off on a tangent.
It's all right. I've actually never drank like a Spanish craft beer before. They will only drink the cheap stuff.
Really?
I think it's more expensive there.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I don't know, none of my family's super wealthy, so we just drink like Heineken.
I will sponsor you to buy some beer next time you go over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some.
I'm sure there's some good Spanish, like it's probably like olive oil beer or something. But
what would that taste like?
Probably nasty. But
yeah.
I don't know, like balsams are a big thing. And actually the big thing in my homeland, like northern Spain, the Basque Country, is cider, alcoholic cider.
Okay.
There's a huge culture of sidrerias, they're called, like cideries.
Okay.
Where every valley in the northern mountains of the Basque Country has their own like apple orchards where they make their own ciders. Speaking
my language here.
Yeah, and they're so cool. Like you go to a sidreria and they have like all of the local apple ciders in huge, like 8-foot, 10-foot kegs in a big hall. And you just go and you order your dinner and you get an empty glass.
Yep.
You go out there, and you just tap the kegs and like a stream of cider comes out. And you just hold your glass out like horizontal in front of the keg and just catch your ciders, and you just get drunk on cider, and it's all amazing. And they ask you what you think of all the different varieties, and it's an amazing time. There's one of these in like every town in that part of the world. So.
Yeah. I love it when you're able to go into a place like that and just get that rapport right away. Just have that sort of common thing. It's like, oh, craft beer. I also craft beers. Let's heart craft beers together and talk about it. It's one of those things that you can really bond over.
Yeah. Maybe we should bring some Duluth cider up there. That'd be fun. See what they think.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Duluth cider because I'm like sweet, semi-sweet. That's kind of my jam. The dry is not as much. That's why I don't drink as much wine, which is why I'm nursing this one here.
Got some grapefruit stuff if you want some of the grapefruit.
Yeah, for the second half of this for sure. Okay. So if you're listening to this, you might notice that I don't have a plan for this. I decided, let me go back a little bit here. So we had the window, October, where people couldn't get together because it was so busy. We had people in shows, people directing shows, people on vacation, people out of town, and it just didn't end up happening. And so Matías and I decided to just kind of do a interview one-shot sort of a thing. So, and we did one of these during early pandemic. We did it over Discord.
Yep.
Right after Lark died.
Right.
He didn't die. He was disintegrated.
It was a month after. It was like the end of March, early April in the pandemic. So we were like, oh, I can't wait for this to be gone in a few weeks.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Have a drink of wine here.
Yeah.
But anyways, that one I had sort of scripted out, and I had these are the questions, and we'll plan all this beforehand, and that went away. That turned out how it turned out. But I wanted to see how we did it freestyle, because Matias and I both do some degree of improv, and we're also capable of talking. Are you trying to burp?
I just almost burped. It was a silent burp. I'd like our listeners to imagine what a great burp would have sounded like right then.
And if I was somebody who overproduced, I would put a burp in there, but I'm not. You're more likely to get the Mario mushroom sound effect.
That'd be nice.
Or
Bully, bully, bully.
get up on the microphone.
Bully, bully,
If you can't hear yourself, they can't hear you.
I didn't really want them to hear it, but here we are.
Anyways, so we're just going to sit here and shoot the shit a little bit. Talk about old times, talk about new times, see what's coming up.
Scott brought in this like mobile podcasting setup to our dining room, and it took like 2 seconds to set up. For anyone curious who's listening, Scott is kind of a maestro at setting up small or large group podcast recording settings. So this is not a plug officially, but
there's nothing to plug.
It's hella great, and the guy's mobile and capable and awesome. So if you have any ideas for recording stuff,
we're currently using a couple of these would be the bass drum mic stands, which I really like. The Gator mic stands. They're weighted, and some of the microphones that was provided, thankfully, by the Minnesota State Arts Board. And it's a little stunning because we're in the same room where Twin Portals essentially started.
Yeah.
Around your table playing D&D and just talking. I had started watching a lot of AC Inc. back in 2017, in early 2018, and I thought we're funny. We have a lot of funny people around our table. We have actors. We have people who perform on a regular basis, who are all passionate about D&D and want to play D&D together. Why can't we set up a microphone and put it out there and see what happens?
Right.
And we started with a Blue Yeti microphone, which I had bought for streaming back in 2015, and a hand-me-down laptop from my sister, which might be over 10 years old at this point, which we still use as a backup system. We started doing that and just goofing around. It sounds like it sounds because those dynamic microphones, it's a condenser microphone. It's a condenser microphone. It's a dynamic microphone. I'm going to cut one of those and sound really smart.
So, yeah, that was what, 3 years ago? 3 years,
yeah,
a bit
almost,
ago?
Almost. You know what?
On the nose, just about?
It's just about on the nose. I keep anniversaries in my Google Calendar.
Nice.
Which I'm popping up right now. And the first Twin Portals recording was 2 days ago, 3 years ago.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
So when we started, did you think this was where you would be in life when the campaign ended?
Oh my God. Has the campaign ended?
I guess not yet. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So no, it has not ended.
We got a little bit to get to.
Lot could change.
That's right. We could say, and we're going to go to this place.
Yeah.
I was going to kind of ask you something similar. It's
Crazy.
like 2018. I'm trying to think about what was going on in 2018. I actually shifted careers.
Yeah.
In 2018. It was a real stressful time. I was a general x-ray tech at a few of the local clinics, so I would take chest x-rays and hand x-rays and foot x-rays whenever they needed. So I had lots of downtime if it was a slow day, or I could be super busy. Most of the time I was kind of average to, I would say I probably did somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours of honest work, and the rest of the time I'm just sitting there reading.
Listening to
music, or or just planning out D&D characters. I wrote a lot of the characters in our offline campaigns there. That's why it was like miles and miles of backstory and script and bullshit that no one ever really looked at.
Yeah, you'd send me texts of your character ideas. I remember.
Yeah, and then I would sit there and I would bring my D&D books and blank character sheets and just start thinking, what sounds cool, and then I got into my habit of planning out a character from 1 to 20, which is so dumb. I think it's just ridiculous now.
I don't know. It's what is dumb? It's not dumb. That's hard on yourself.
I suppose
Is it super useful? I don't know.
I think it's
in different ways.
It's potentially limiting.
Potentially, depending on how hard you hold on to it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And I was I was kind of playing my character for what I had planned in the future rather than playing the character for what was happening in the now, which is something which has drastically changed with Scoot, because, I'm throwing points into skills or pulling achievements for things that I know aren't really, I'm not min-maxing my character essentially, which is my habit. My impulse is to min-max and try to get as good as possible at one thing.
Respect.
Yeah. But flying into the face of my failures and the things that I'm weak at is just sort of funny to me now and just more fulfilling.
Yeah.
It took me a while to
it's
realize.
More dramatic.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize I think being a better teammate is having shortcomings for someone else to jump in, and there's that fruit fly, for someone else to jump in and help you out on. So it's like I wanted to play Scoot as, big damage dealing, and then Lark's like, okay, I'm going to sneak attack for 90 damage. Oh, I forgot to roll something. Hold on, 102.
Yeah, you kind of went up as more of like the crowd control sort of utility character of the group,
which is a weird thing for a barbarian, but also pretty funny. I guess I'm there to take the hits, but I'm also always the one with the last initiative, and so I'm the last one to the fight.
Shockingly.
So it works out pretty funny that way.
Yeah, you have a bunch of high dex teammates. That's why.
Yeah, that's the problem. Bards and rogues and druids. Like I'm gonna be and a monk. I'm gonna be a panther and run 90 feet the other direction.
Right.
And I'm catching up for 4 rounds.
Yeah, I remember that encounter keenly as a DM lesson.
I know you remember. I think that was when we were getting Lark back.
Yeah,
I think we were
for the listener. That was our first episode post-pandemic. Like what, 4 episodes ago?
Oh my God, is that the case?
In the Feywild, where they had a huge encounter in a big kind of like mountain volcano caldera type place, like a big pond on top of a volcano.
Cool.
And the distance between the two parties was like 200, 300 feet. And I, in all my DMing wisdom, decided to introduce like 9 different enemies, a couple NPCs, the party, and have them all just run at each other for like 300 feet, and then try and like manage that in my mind of like where everyone is distance wise. And like everyone in SWOJ asked me like, how far am I? How close am I? Like 4 or 5 times. And I maybe got it right like half the time, but it was fine for all the ranged characters of the party. But for Scott, poor Scott, it was like, where am I and why can't I do anything, DM? And I didn't yes and super effectively in that encounter.
Yeah, we were very emotional just trying to get Lark back into the flow of things, or into the game, I should say. But yeah, I remember going back and listening to that. It's like there was one time, and this might be a slight exaggeration, but Zay and I are like shoulder to shoulder, and I ask how far away am I? It's like 100 feet. All right, I run 40 feet and wait. And then Zay would go and she'd say, how far away am I? 30 feet. I'm like, what? But I didn't realize at the time, I wasn't, because I don't pay attention. That's my failing as a player, is that my attention to detail is almost nothing. It's so bad. I mean, I was bad when I wasn't producing at the same time, but now producing at the same time, I am so much worse. Like I could not do this and play a smart character because I don't write anything down. My memory is about 4 seconds long, and then it just goes away. So that's why I'm constantly asking for sit reps.
Yeah. Playing a super like high intelligence or like perceptive character takes a lot of investment for like the role player, if you want to like do it effectively.
Let's pause and fix your mic.
Is it falling down?
You're drifting down, and I can. It's down by your chin now.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, tighten that T-bar up a little bit. There you go. There you go. Yeah, you look good now. Yeah, okay. all stretchy and whatnot.
Can go back to ASMR mode.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking. Playing a smart character, playing somebody with high intelligence. I can't even fathom it. I can't imagine playing. I would need to have the DM hand me secrets on a piece of paper, or just totally just give me passes on things, which I don't know how you. Because you can't remind one player and not remind everybody unless you're using notes.
Well, in this digital age, it's very easy to send secret notes.
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, how do you incorporate technology into your games now? I mean, you don't have any in-person games right now, do you?
Not really right now. Well, sort of. Like we have our Frost Maiden campaign that we're doing with some local folks, but that's been kind of inconsistent, especially once the summer hit. We kind of all got busy.
Yeah.
We might get back into it now that it's coming into winter again.
Yeah.
But
and there's less to do.
Right. So much less to do.
Everybody gets their third pokes.
Eliza just goes into a hibernation for 3 months too, so that helps a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. But that campaign is actually very unique when it comes to digital. medium and secrets, because the whole campaign is built around each player character having secrets.
Oh.
Like there's a whole catalog of secrets, and each player gets one or two from the book, the way it's written.
That's sweet.
And they motivate a lot of your character's backstory and motivations and whatnot. And so there was, and we all played it over Discord during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of like secret one-on-one messaging going on while everyone was talking on Discord. Just like, hey, like, what do I know about this? When I say this, what I really mean is this. You know, like, hey, let them think that I'm saying this, but really what I'm saying is this. Or like, is this alluding to my secret thing? Yes, no.
So was that how you came to incorporate that into our last live show? Because we were having everybody make wisdom saves, and then based on the rolls, you would hand us all a piece of paper. And for the record, I rolled obscenely high on my wisdom rolls. And so each time I got, you're fine, play it like whatever. So did that, or is that an old trick that you'd used before?
No, that was 100%. I didn't really make the connection, but yeah, that's totally based on the Frostmaiden campaign experiences that we had. Yep.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's nice to have those little secrets, especially since it's something I can look at and reread and relearn, because I don't write anything down and I don't have any memory.
Yeah, I will say I was kind of hoping that that the folks who were in Sorcelled, which I believe was Justin and Beth, would like be more conniving. But I understand we were in a live show for one thing, so they didn't want to like throw the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Or necessarily like get everyone killed.
Yeah.
So I can respect their choices, but I was really hoping, as my DM devil internal monologue goes, that they would like do something just totally crazy and like dramatically like ruin something.
How much steering do you actively have to do with us?
Steering.
And I suppose we could probably separate this into offline shows and live shows.
Yeah.
Because, so to kind of, if you haven't thought about this before, when we do a live show, we have a theater for a set amount of time. We usually aim for a 2-hour show, which would also include, like, we got to have a half hour for door open. I need an hour before for setup and sound checks. Afterwards, maybe a half hour to tear down if we're not too drunk and working well and people have left the building and we're not having fun D&D conversations with people, which, you know what, after you've just played a live game of D&D with people or watching somebody, you kind of want to hang out and talk about that, you know? So
John Brophy is there. Everything takes an hour less time because he's
yes,
a wizard.
And it looks way better and people can hear.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Big ups for Thale. So Matias is on a time limit. We've got a hard time limit roughly of 2.5 hours. We have a soft limit of 2 hours. That's when we want to get out. And you've got X number of plot points that you want to hit, which could go in X number of directions. How do you deal with that, and how do you help keep us on the rails when you got someone like me who can't remember a sentence 4 sentences later?
Well, there's a lot of tricks. Number one is writing more options than you have time to do. We kind of talked about this in the last recording a little bit, our last interview thing.
That was more than 4 minutes ago.
A lifetime ago. But if you have many ideas written down or kind of thought out, at least like somewhat in depth, then regardless of what the party decides to do, you can kind of find one or two that fit their choices.
Okay.
And make it work out. And then also you can kind of look at how much time you have left in a live show, especially, and say, okay, if I throw this at them, that'll probably take like 10-15 minutes to resolve. If I throw this at them, it could take a whole hour. If I just do this but do it like this way, it could be like a really trivial encounter that just like adds some flavor to the whole thing. So like that's like for example, the last live show, the dragon fighting the black ooze, like that wasn't planned, but I quickly realized at the speed we were going that having a black ooze actually attack you all could take like another hour or like the whole rest of the episode and we wouldn't get to a satisfying conclusion.
Yeah. So
instead I had the dragon introduced having already killed the black ooze more or less, with Scoot coming in to kind of deal the finishing blow instead of actually having a fight. And it made a really fun moment of Scoot doing his thing and still getting that punch and that comedy moment without like, rolling for initiative and like having everyone decide what special move they wanted to do, and that's especially for a live audience. Like it's a lot more finding these fun like interactions versus like finding these like deep mechanical D&D moments. And so
yeah,
a lot of my ideas get boiled down into like, how can this fun idea be like a short fun thing and not like a, you know, strong contest of skills and dice rolls. And the times we do that, it's usually like either one big encounter or like a puzzle or two, or, you know, solving some mystery or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the D&D gameplay comes into it. But stuff always takes more time.
Yeah. So me being highly mechanical, highly tactical, my favorite parts of our games were when we had the map out and the minis out, and I could figure out what I could use to my advantage, things like that, which I completely nixed when we started doing this, because I'm like, if we can't, I don't want to do a description of everything each single time. It's going to have to be theater of the mind.
Yep.
I my curiosity now is like, do you have a sheet somewhere that says time to resolve for twin portals, like minor puzzle, doorway, NPC cooperative, NPC uncooperative, medium challenge fight? Do you have a spreadsheet or just like a hard idea on all of these things, or is it individual based on what the situation is?
No, it's much more intuitive and improvised.
Okay.
I do look at like encounter ratings and try and like, I'm going to throw an encounter at you. If it's like an easy or a hard encounter, I try to kind of budget how much time that'll take.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. Like, I don't, you know, it's not like Aboleth, 20 minutes, you know, challenging encounter. No, it's not like that. That'd be nice. That might be a fun way to organize it.
That's
for the future if I was going to do like multiple shows or something. But
yeah, you've been busier. You've been kind of DM to the stars in Duluth, right?
A little bit, yeah.
You've been doing some extra stuff.
Yeah, Kendra has been helping me organize this side gig that we're calling Tales and Taverns, or Taverns and Tales. I keep swapping it around. But it's going to be advertised soon, probably on social media.
Nice.
And we're doing little catered D&D nights where you can get together with 5 friends and get a catered meal, and then while you're eating and getting your appetizers and desserts and whatnot, play a game of D&D, and I'll host it for you. And you can make your own characters or use a pre-made one that I've generated, and I'll run a little one-shot. And so far we haven't done it enough to do more than one session with the same party, but people have asked. So
yeah,
I might have to write more than one scenario, because I've got one really tight scenario for like new or experienced D&D players that kind of brings it all together. And that's, so far it's been mostly with like people who are new to D&D too. Mm-hmm. So it's been a fun experience trying to like match these people's ideas and energy with them when they have no idea how to actually play the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a really different experience than Twin Portals.
I would hope so.
But really fun, like super fun. I don't know, like it's one shot that I've made with like, again, more than enough encounters to fill the time, and I cut and choose depending on what their choices are. But but so far each group has approached it wildly differently.
Any murder hobos yet?
Kind of one. This one warlock guy really wanted to just freaking kill all these kobolds, but yeah, they've all used the pre-made characters so far, and they're a nice mix of like morally ambiguous and like good aligned moral creatures, and so they've been keeping each other in check. When it's 6 people in a party, it's hard to like get away with murders.
That's right. I was gonna you kind of, all right, and you 5 are great. You're in jail. I hope you've enjoyed your meal. Have a great night.
My favorite resolution is there's this like big boss encounter with spoilers. But one guy, the bard, there's this big fight, and the whole fight he didn't really participate much. He was just like, I'm gonna make a kobold disguise, and then he like sat down, and while everyone else was like dealing with all these monsters and puzzles, he was like, okay, I'm gonna slap some mud on my face, like get some scales, puts together this like passably, like rolls really high and does like a really good job on this disguise. And then they proceed in the dungeon to this like final encounter with these lizard folk, and the lizard folk are all like, you know, we're gonna kill you. And then he just like steps up, rolls persuasion, deception, and like crits it or something. And he's just like, you know what? Hey, you guys, the boss said leave the treasure and get out of here. And they're like, who the hell are you? And he's like, that's above your pay grade. Like, get out of here. And like just negates the whole final encounter with just some really awesome bard rolls, and they walk away with scot-free with everything. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The classic Fallout 2 sort of finish.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
That is awesome.
So,
when's the last time you played?
I played D&D. I think it was our last episode of Twin Portals that we did.
No, when was the last time you played, not DM'd?
As a character? I don't know. I think it was a campaign that Patrick ran, like pre-pandemic. Yeah, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Spent some time.
Nice. Do you miss like playing a character, or do you like having the power now?
Very much. I love playing a character.
Yeah.
We need more DMs. People, just DM. It's fun. It's not as hard as it looks.
It seems hard.
It's not.
It seems very hard.
It's just like playing a character, but you play a bunch. And then you maybe get some fuel for story beats as you go.
Can you imagine the script and spreadsheets I would need for somebody who can't remember 4 lines ago? I mean, as soon as a player told me that's not what that character said earlier, I'd be like, what? And I would just completely begin to self-doubt and not just hold the power of, well, yeah, they did.
But you just did that right now. But in the moment, you're saying
Yes.
it would be okay.
I don't know if I could keep it together we've had sessions go 4 hours.
Yeah. That's a lot for anyone.
Yeah.
In fairness.
Yeah.
Especially when we're recording Twin Portals, we're not just like casual. We're like, headsets on, mouth on the mic. Like,
one of those is usually accurate and consistent.
But versus like a home game where it's like, even as DM, you can still kind of like take a break and be like, okay, I need to go get some beer.
Yeah. You used your daddy voice. Now Sylvi is up and running around again. Hi, Sylvi. How you doing?
Sylvi, go on.
Yeah, I miss you too. That's her. Fun side note, the first time we recorded in here, Sylvi chewed my USB cable. Under the table, mind you. We were doing a proof of concept, and look at this. Wow.
Good girl.
Yeah, it's all those hand commands.
Good girl.
Just doing a little proof of concept. Could we record an episode of D&D and make it sound good? And we could record it.
we did record the episode.
The episode was recorded.
Yes.
It would never.
Out there.
Yeah, it's. God, I don't know if it is.
It might be on our old Dropbox for our campaign.
Our old trial stuff, like. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember at one point before Twin Portals and all of this technology, we were like, you know what we should do? We should like all get mics and like record every session and like have it available and like timestamps so we can like remember everything that happens in our campaigns. And we were all like, yeah, that sounds totally doable. Let's do it. And then like the energy immediately faded and it never happened.
Grand plans are tough. Like, I remember having plans like, I'm going to re-listen to every episode and I'm going to fill up the Twin Portals wiki with all the information.
Right.
I don't think I ever entered one thing. I think I looked at that page more than twice.
It's a good wiki. Added a lot of entries.
Oh,
It's got all the characters up to like episode 8 or something.
Probably don't even know the address.
Wikia Twin Portals, something like that.
Are you kidding?
Twin Portals /Wikia.
Oh, man.
Justin made it. Justin did a great job setting it up.
Yeah, Justin's awesome. There's a whole bunch of skills there.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of skills there.
Yeah. Justin just he's putting together an immersive art exhibit in Duluth. He's going to at some point, along with
him and Jeff Brown and Daniel.
Jeff Brown, Daniel, and Robert. Yep. Can't wait.
Beth Drown.
Beth. Yep.
Drown is how I wanted that NPC named and pronounced.
Was that an NPC that we met?
No, he was talking on his Facebook about D&D. Or no. I said something about going to go hang out with somebody whose name rhymes with Bef, BE''EF, Drown, which I then instantly decided should be a D&D character.
Great name for a drow.
Bef Drown. If we ever get him on the show, that's his name.
He should be a member of Breaking Dareth or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
What sort of things that you feel like you can talk about for the past 20 some episodes of this that we've done? What's one of your favorite things that we as players have entirely missed or ignored and not given any attention to? What's something that you were like, I really hope not, it doesn't have to be something that you spent a lot of time on or a big plot point or anything like that, but what's just a piece that you wish naturally got better explored by us and we failed you as players?
Well, I would not contextualize it that way. I wouldn't call it a failure ever.
Well, okay.
But
you and my brain work differently then.
It's more like you guys just made your own path, right? It's not like there was not a preset win condition for any of this.
I don't believe that at all. My brain cannot handle that.
But there are several things. I mean, it's like, think of all the unanswered questions you have about our campaign right now. There
4-minute memory, man.
Okay.
Just give me something from
everyone else who's listening. Think of all you know that tea that you drank in the alley with Fela Lefalier?
Yeah, that got me super high.
Yeah, you never followed up on that in character hard enough.
No, but personally, I bought hundreds of dollars worth of tea.
I mean,
in real life.
So that's like really going all the way.
That's yeah.
Actually, you didn't fail that at all.
No, I'm taking Meisner to a whole new level. I'm taking a fictional character and incorporating it into my life.
Damn.
And doing it basically live. Like after that, hey, I got that fruit fly. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah. What was in that tea?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you, man.
Fine.
But I just got an idea. Now that we talked about it. That's how it goes. DMing.
That's how it goes.
I write down a bunch of stuff and then come up with better ideas or worse ideas, other ideas.
Or just let the players sort of decide.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That was my favorite part of that Jeremy Crawford panel that I saw with PAX.
Letting the players tell you.
Yeah, when he was talking about listening to the players decide how to handle it and what they thought the puzzle was, and then him just back behind the DM screen writing down the answers that they're saying out.
Yeah, I know. I'm itching to write this down right now.
You don't have any. This is ridiculous. We don't have any papers, any pens, anything.
I got
like
this at arm's length here. This tablet with a stylus, so I could start writing right now.
Ooh,
but I'm talking on a recording, so I don't want to.
I can edit. I'm still going to listen to this and cut out the pauses.
Fair enough.
So you go ahead and write down what you want, man.
I'm just going to wait for now. But
do it. Just let me see. You hear that? It's my phone. My phone is uploading. It's me. No, it's entirely
That's totally your phone.
It's totally my phone. I just opened up Snapchat and it's syncing or whatever it is.
It's got like a rhythm to it. Do you hear that?
Yeah. And just as I turned airplane mode on, it stopped. So for the listeners, I've been trying to troubleshoot this damn problem for about 5 episodes now. And I'm probably going to leave that static pop in just for the sake of it. And that has just been going on and on. I could not figure it out. I thought it was my new gear interacting with my old gear. I troubleshot. I set up the entire system in my bedroom, just like cords on top of cords on top of cords, microphones. I put my cell phone right in the middle and I just listen and just, that was it. It's my cell phone sending like a GPS signal or something. And it gets picked up somewhere in the unshielded connections between the Zoom H6 and these cables and these microphones. I love it. I love it when a problem gets solved. I couldn't tell. I know you burped, but I was trying to. I can't tell if there's still clicking going on or not because now I'm like freaking out about it.
I don't hear any.
I don't hear any either. Maybe it's just my jaw.
Yeah, it actually happened during our last live show too. I remember there was a moment like in Act 1 where it started clicking and like all of us like glanced at each other and then just like played it casual. It was pretty funny. It was like a nice little solidarity moment.
We all our eyes opened up at the exact same time. We start looking.
Yeah.
I make contact with people across the table and I can kind of feel Kendra looking towards me and I see Matias.
Yep.
And I think you might have been the one talking. It shouldn't have been me because I was obviously on my phone.
Googling aboleth. Weaknesses.
That's oh God. I tell you, as someone who does just look for the advantages and try to figure out how to game the system, it's still in me to not be doing those things and just roll with the failings of my character, the limitations of my character,
the strengths of your character,
the limitations of my character. Just like I am guilty of looking up stat blocks after the episode was done. If I thought the character was finished,
totally
something like that. So look for like giant metal scarecrows that shred wheat or things like that.
Did you look up aboleths? Their
crazy abilities?
They're nuts.
Yeah.
They're really cool D&D monsters.
Yeah, you went way easy on us.
Way easy on you guys.
How often do you? I mean, yeah,
I'll give you a dragon ally also, which helped a lot.
That did help. Yeah, it's helpful when you have a dragon.
Yes,
I think we should have more dragons.
Well, you do now.
Or maybe I don't think we have dragons, but
there are dragons.
There are dragons, and they don't hate us.
Yes.
Step in the right direction. I find it the thing that I always have to kind of fight back is the knowledge I personally have, like prismatic versus metallic dragons. Mm-hmm. I know the rule roughly. I know what is long-standing tradition, which is prismatic dragons are evil and metallic ones are usually good. So when I see a bronze dragon, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna run up and give him a hug. Gold dragon, silver dragon, whatever, titanium, platinum, yeah, big hug. Red dragon, shit, run.
And just for the record, I like those tropes, but I do not stick to them. I feel like it's kind of contrived,
Yeah.
Like,
I believe it.
Yeah.
That might be something that should go out with racial feats.
Absolutely. It's a bit different when you like magic. The way it's defined is always so like pseudo-scientific, It's like there's fire and water and air and earth or whatever. Like it's always like kind of like structured that way. And so as magical creatures, it kind of makes sense that dragons would kind of follow laws. But when it comes to like morality, that feels like an outside observation on what they are, and dragons are supposed to be these like inscrutable magical creatures. I don't like them being so like one color, literally.
You shouldn't be able to put them in a box like that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that you have so far.
Well, as far as you know.
As far as I know. I mean, you could kill us all at any moment, but then we're going to need something else to do.
Yeah, Zelifarn was the necromancer the whole time.
Oh, God. And we left doppelgangers off. Like occasionally it would get mentioned. I'm like, oh yeah, that person could not be. And me being as stupid as I am, I never even consider that there are ways to, disguise yourself. In other words, I always take everything at face value as Scoot. I think probably as myself as well.
Yeah, going back to that question, I think like two of the things that just immediately popped into my head of like stuff that you guys missed or like didn't like investigate would be number one, like just the Xanathar's lair overall. Like so much went down in there, but even like the approach and the way in and everything, like you guys just kind of went for it, which like hats off and respect to you. But like I like threw a bunch of stuff at you that like we never followed up on. I never had a chance to follow up on. Like everything just kind of went to shit, and then like I blew the whole place up because it was like, all right, this is not getting resolved, so I got to give it a resolution. Here we are, and even that hasn't really been explained yet. Like Jarlaxle was there for some reason, and then the whole place blew up. We haven't like really spelled out why yet. Or like what happened with the mind flayer and what's going on down there. It's all mysteries, but there's part of that might be on me because I just keep throwing stuff at you guys, so I never give you like much downtime to go and explore your own like ends.
I guess that's kind of true, but you also, I mean, it's like herding cats. You can't get them to walk in a straight line. We will just go off and do whatever. We get, when we have free time, we get lost. It seems like, or maybe that's just me.
That's okay. Sometimes it's okay to get lost.
I need Kendra to have all the quest lines. She's got this. It must be like a Rolodex now of index cards with different quests and where we've been going and progress we've made and important people. Justin has all the info in his head basically all the time. I don't know how he does that.
I think he would disagree with you if you said that.
I don't care. Justin's wrong. Beth is also amazing, has all these details, keeps incredible knowledge in her head.
I would love to see Beth's campaign notes just because she's been taking like doodling stuff from the campaign and writing down song names the whole time.
Oh my God, the whole time.
Just full of gems.
And mine is absolutely ridiculous. It's like 6 bullet points all from the first 7 minutes and then nothing for the rest of the 2-hour recording. And then I might just write down a name or something and then I never look at it again. I've tried to get in the habit now of when I edit to actually pay attention to the content instead of just the audio quality. Because when I'm editing this, it's on in my ear. I've got I use Audacity to edit, so I got that on the computer, and I'll have my headphones on, and I just start. I do my normal overall processes first, like noise reduction, amplification, anything like that compressing needs to get done. Then I find the start point, I find the end point, I just go from there, and I have it on, and I'm listening. I'm not necessarily listening to the content. I'm listening for loud spikes, long pauses, or things that just we say we want cut from the episode when we're talking about it. Like if somebody has to go for a bathroom break, or we got to dig in to find a note to clarify some important point, then that can go away. No one needs to hear that. So
totally.
And it's been 4 minutes, and I forgot where I started on this damn point. You did too, because you weren't paying attention either.
Well, like midway through it, I heard a bump from upstairs, and I thought Eliza might be waking up. And then I started listening.
Take pause, listen.
Another thump. Xanathar's lair, and the other thing was.
Oh yeah, okay, you go.
The necromancer and just what's going on with that whole. There's just a lot of unanswered questions in our campaign still, and I'm happy about that. I'm okay with that. And I think it's kind of the natural arc of stories too. Like D&D campaigns especially, but most stories where it's like you kind of have a lot more freedom in the beginning and stuff is explored and introduced, and then it kind of coalesces into like the main thread, and then you have like your kind of like rising action and climax and resolution, and that's how campaigns work too, is like I gave you guys a lot more freedom the first like 10 episodes or so to follow up on whatever floated your boats and show what you're interested in, and then I tried to kind of from those things build cohesive barking dogs.
If you were wondering if we were recording in Matias's house.
Yeah, her tail is wagging so hard. You're so proud of yourself, Sylvi.
There's a dog outside.
Good fucking guard dog.
Did you see a dog through the window?
Yep. The funny thing is that she loves dogs. Like, this is like, she just loves it, but she doesn't know how to like socialize with dogs very well.
That was a mean sounding bark.
It wasn't though. That was like a happy bark.
That was a happy bark?
Yeah. It was more like, I'm really tough. Come play with me.
Yeah. Oh.
That's basically her MO.
That's coincidentally the first line of my Tinder profile.
Nice.
I was going to say one thing that I think I'd asked about maybe once or twice since it happened, but I've never heard anything on, and I'm not expecting an answer now, but I am going to read your reaction a little bit. Is did anything happen to Scoot when he went into that pool from the mind flayer? And I've got some nods, and he's grinning up on the right side of his cheek. He thinks he's hiding it from the mic by the microphone, but he's not. So I have had no information on that, and I think it's kind of a fun plot point that may come into play later on.
Right.
All right, that's enough D&D stuff. What else are you doing? What sort of? If you're not on the Discord, get on the Discord. We talk about all sorts of stuff. They just had a big Dune movie screening.
Oh, Dune!
How was it?
How was Dune?
In one word or less.
1 word or less.
That's more than one.
Fuck.
That's one word. Fuck. Fuck is how that. Fuck is the 1 word review.
It was 1 word. Faithful.
Faithful.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's what I heard from somebody else. Said it was remarkably faithful to the book.
Yep. I think so. It didn't really go out of its way to like make its own claims to what the book is all about or what it does or says or anything. It was just very much like, here's what happens.
I haven't read it. I got to put that on my wish list.
God, it's good. Amazon. It's such a fantastic book.
How long is it?
It's pretty long. I have it over there if you want to borrow it.
No, I think I'll probably put it on my wish list for Christmas.
It's a thick book, but it's really easy to read. Like, and I don't know, if you watch the movie and like it at all, I cannot recommend the book enough, because the whole thing is just these like insanely perceptive and intelligent people just like reading into each other's super subtle cues and gestures and words.
Cannot relate to this at all.
It's not relatable. It's meant to be like alien, almost like magical, it's like they're so smart that they can just like see the future with like how they talk, and they can like command each other. There's a thing called like The Voice, where they're just like so good at like subtle intonation that they'll like say a thing and like you're compelled to respond to it. Like they're like that advanced.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it's never really talked about any of that stuff. It's just like they kind of like stare at each other broodingly, and it's like, oh, why are they all being so like starey? But in the book, it'll be like, well, here's what he was thinking, and this is why, and it makes sense, and it's really readable and really interesting.
Nice. I'm definitely gonna add it to my list.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book.
I've gotten back into reading a little bit. My old job, I had lots of time for reading because it was as needed X-ray exams. So if nobody needed an X-ray that day, you're sitting there for 8 hours with nothing to do. So I got through a bunch of the Dresden Files, and I think the King Killer Chronicles. I got to those two while I was just sitting there, and I've gotten to the point now at my current job where I can figure out which days are going to kind of be the slow ones, where I can disappear for a little while if I just want to relax. If I need to archive like patient images on a computer, that kind of requires somebody to sit there and make sure it doesn't screw up. So I'll just bring them. Anyways, so I finished the first Name of the Wind. I reread that. I read the expanded edition of The Stand.
Wow.
From Stephen King. I just finished up reading Lovecraft Country.
Cool.
Yeah, which I thought was good. I have to rewatch the miniseries now to see if I like that better or not, which if you did not watch Lovecraft Country, the series, it is awesome. I thought it was fantastic, sort of cosmic horror.
I saw the first like 6 episodes. We didn't finish it.
You didn't finish it?
No.
Any reason?
Just got distracted.
That happens.
child stuff, and I don't know. I'd like to finish it, but
I was gonna say
if
you made it 6, then yeah. I just brought in, what was it now? Wise Man's Fear, so the second book of King's Killer, to reread that because I'm kind of enjoying reading things that I've read before, just kind of like comfort food sort of stuff. But
those 2 books are like rich, also for like you know like metaphors and like hidden meanings and stuff. And the more you read them, it's like, oh wow. Yeah.
So I want to read that one again. Trying to think of anything else. Let's see. I need to finish The Watchmen because I have that whole thing, one of the big hardcover sort of compendiums of it. And then I just spent a big wad of money on The Sandman.
Yeah.
So
I'm very excited for you to read those. My God.
I've read the first 8 books, but that means there's like 60 some to go, 68, I think.
Pretty dreamy.
Yeah. No, I get it. Switching in there. What else is going on? What are you playing?
Have you read Ender's Game?
No. What's that?
Really? Seriously? You never read Ender's Game? Oh my God, you love Ender's Game.
What is it?
It's a sci-fi book. It's like one of the classic sci-fi books. About a kid genius named Ender Wiggins who gets sent to space camp to learn how to command armadas to fight off an alien invasion.
Nice.
But it's from like the 80s. Orson Scott Card.
Okay.
It's like one of the most famous sci-fi books alongside Dune.
See,
and I feel like a lot more people have read it for some reason than Dune, and they're very similar, and that's why I was going to say if you've read that, you should read Dune.
I have a real blind spot for books. Like I've not done a lot of reading in my life. I'm primarily a gamer.
Sure,
like
sure.
I got what's my pedigree here? I think we had
F6.
an Atari 2600. Was the first thing we had, and I think I was probably like 5 years old when we got that. We got a Commodore 64 computer shortly after that, and then Nintendo, so it just went on and on. So I was kind of came up in the golden age of gaming, like 12 years old when the Super Nintendo came out, that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So no complaints there. But I have remained pretty ignorant to books, especially classics. So like one of the things I read when I was at work was Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Wow.
Which was, the book that Blade Runner was based off of. So,
yeah. I mean that's like a cut deeper than Ender's Game or Dune. Like that's like the quote unquote hard sci-fi or like harder sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got that sitting up on my shelf still. Happy I read that. And then like kind of like biographies or George Carlin books, things like that. But I'm relatively ignorant to other like really good literature. I've when people post those lists of, hey, mark all the classic books you've read off, I'm just like, pass. This is gonna be shameful. But I'm learning to take some enjoyment in that now. So so Ender's Game, Dune.
I feel like those are like the 2 like top books on most, like, you got to read these. If you don't read sci-fi, read these books and you'll like it.
Okay.
Like they're everywhere and they're wonderful.
You've got a wide breadth of experiences, which is shocking to me. And specifically, I'm talking about gaming. Like, you play so many fucking games, man. I'm a gamer. I've got most of the systems. I got a gaming quality PC still. I played virtual reality. I do handhelds, all that shit. But for some reason, you get more involved in more games than I don't even understand. I think you're working off a different clock. I feel like you've got 36 hours in a day, and I'm stuck at like 24. I don't understand.
Yeah, they just don't sleep very much. That's the secret.
How do you do that? I mean, you've got a kid and a job and a wife. And
I take power naps.
Noisy dog.
I live the JFK lifestyle. 1 or 2 power naps a day, 5 or 6 hours of sleep.
6 hours of sleep is still a decent amount of sleep.
Yeah.
I get maybe 2 hours more of sleep. What am I doing wrong? Is it because I keep playing Stardew Valley for hundreds of hours at a time?
Yep, that's it.
Which I really love.
I don't know. I guess my strat is like my pro strat.
How do you min-max gaming experiences?
Don't play anything you've already played, which I say, but then I still do that with MMOs all the time and like shooters with my buddies, But generally in my solo gaming time, like I will not play another Assassin's Creed game or another like Call of Duty or like just like sequels that are just kind of like remakes with more features. Like or like most open world games even which is silly because I play a lot of MMOs, but like games that require you to check off tons of boxes, which I know you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I play them for a short amount of time to get like a taste of it, and then I usually like stop.
Yeah.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn, like I played for like 4 hours, and I was like, I got to the big world. I went to like one outpost, climbed one of those giant giraffe creatures. Like, this is really cool, and then I stopped playing it, and I wikied the rest of the game's plot because I was like, I don't want to go through all the upgrades and shit.
And then the exception to this rule is going to be Breath of the Wild, right?
There are some exceptions, yeah. Like games that are really revolutionary. Breath of the Wild, I have not beaten, but I've beaten like all the dungeons and explored a shit ton.
This might be some fodder if anyone listens and comments, but Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn, how different are they? Because you said one was revolutionary.
I would say Breath of the Wild is much more revolutionary than Horizon Zero Dawn in the sense that it encourages creativity a lot more.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't really hold your hand. You know, it gives you many different tools and says, do your thing. And if that's like stasis freezing a boulder and then like punching it 10 times, jumping on top and flying to the moon.
Okay.
Or like making up your own recipes, setting things on fire and watching the fire spread. Like, there's just lots of ways to do stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I get, and yeah, I'll grant you that that had more than Horizon. Also, Horizon did kind of have you a little bit more on a tunnel, like you're going to go to this zone, this zone, this zone. Because if like old EverQuest days, if you go to the zone that you're not supposed to go to yet, those robotic dinosaurs will F you up.
Right.
They will just stomp on you. So.
Right. And I think that's endemic of a lot of open world games where it's like they hold your hand a lot more. Like, it's still an open world, but they're like, you know, like, here's your main quest, here are your sub quests, here is your tutorial on everything. And here's like all these systems and how they work, and they're gonna like explain all that to you in the first like 3 hours, and then they're like, now go and explore or whatever, get all your watchtowers done.
Did you play Immortals Phoenix Rising?
I did for again like 4 hours or so.
4 hours? I think it's just the Zelda love for you, because Immortals Phoenix Rising took what Breath of the Wild did and expanded on it.
And that game actually I thought was pretty amazing, and I would have liked to keep playing it more, but it started to get repetitive, and that's why I stopped.
But Breath of the Wild gets repetitive.
It does, but I think it's the reason why I can keep playing it is A, I have a lot of Zelda love.
Okay, that's fair.
And B, it's just a bit more like Zen, kind of like, you know, Hayao Miyazaki. Like, the music is toned down, the aesthetic is toned down. It's just, I don't know, it's just something to it.
It doesn't overwhelm the senses.
Yeah, and it's not like, it's never pushing you to like do a certain thing. It's just kind of like go.
You're just running across a field, and occasionally somebody's cat jumps on a piano, and that's the soundtrack.
Literally, and then like lightning strikes you and you die.
Yeah, right?
And the Guardian shows up and you fucking pee your pants.
I'm bummed you haven't done more Phoenix Rising, because for all of the things that it just cut and paste from Breath of the Wild, the puzzles, they don't repeat.
Sure.
There's some that just made me drop my jaw. I'm like, this is amazing. But I'm with you. It's an open world Ubisoft game, and that just, there's something about it. It always feels like you're playing the same game.
Oh yeah, like another thing, like in that game, like you get weapon upgrades, and there's like strict numerical upgrades, and you're always looking for the next upgrade to your stuff. But in Breath of the Wild, you know, I at first I resented the weapon like falling apart thing.
I was gonna say,
but actually, what that encourages is not getting attached to your numerical upgrades, because none of it lasts. It's just like you have a good tool for a bit, and then it's gone, and you're not looking for the next upgrade ever. You're just like, maybe you get a heart piece or something, but like, you know, it's much more about thinking on your feet.
Well, it also involves keeping an inventory of backup weapons.
Yeah, well then if you want to like really like, you know, be a pro at it, which you got to do if you want to survive, then you have like all your metal weapons and your wood weapons and blah, 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 blah.
I was going to say it that would encourage some improvisation if you just didn't, if you couldn't have 14 more swords in your backpack that you have immediate access to.
Well, then I'm put my nerd glasses on. There's also Master Mode Breath of the Wild, which is how I'm playing it right now.
Never played it.
That is a totally different experience because your weapon falls apart in like 5 swings, and every monster has like 3 times as much health, and their health recharges if you stop hitting them for more than like 5 seconds.
So it's like a survival game.
It's totally a survival game and a stealth game. And it's like if you want to fight like a moblin or something, it's like you have to have like 3 weapons lined up and like not stop attacking and like use your bombs and everything all at once, just to like take them all down in like a blitz of fire and storm.
I can see that being more interesting.
It's very different.
Like like a whole different step.
Like Splinter Cell Zelda or something. Yeah.
So like racing games, for example, not for you.
Not usually.
Yeah. See, me and I'll dig into the next Forza. Like, and Granted, I might only play it for 15 hours, but that's 15 hours I won't get to put into a different experience. You know, I'm also someone who would play RimWorld forever or Civ 6 forever, or whatever the next sim is, or Civ 1.
I mean, those games still come along, but they're very rare. Like maybe like 1 or 2 a year. You know, like Valheim was like that for me. It's like, oh, this is beautiful. I could keep playing this.
Yeah.
I just picked up. I love indie games though. Like Hades was a game that I could keep playing.
I haven't heard of it. Don't know what you're talking about.
Son of a bitch. God, that game is incredible. I mean, anyone who's considering playing Hades, just do it.
If you're not on the Discord, Matias is constantly getting me trying to play more Hades, which I've played it and I've beaten the final boss. I haven't gotten to credits rolling because it's a different sort of system.
Did you beat the secret final boss?
No, obviously not.
Shame.
It was very grindy. It's
so grindy.
It's trying to get the next numerical upgrade or trying to get the next carpet to put on a wall somewhere.
It's much more of that, yeah. Like, can I get the disco ball from my tavern?
Exactly.
I need more souls. Damn.
Exactly. I am trying to play Death Stranding again. I think I bought it for like $15-20 and I hated myself when I did because I just kind of looked at it. I'm like, this seems like ass. And so here's my issue. I play like the first 3 hours, don't pick it up again, forget how to play the first 3 hours, don't play it anymore. So I've done this a minimum 3 times already. And I've rolled my eyes so hard they cramp at the first part. Now I'm going to spoil here the first like 30 minutes of plot line for Death Stranding, which is all I really know.
In 1 word or less.
No, well, I could probably do it in under 15 words, which it might be more than 15. It's going to be around 15 words. I'm going to count on my hands while this is going. Maybe it'll go to 20 words.
That was like 20 words.
Shut up. The president wants to see you. Also, she's your mom. Also, she just died. Also, she's a nuclear bomb. Okay, that's 19 words.
Yeah. So
it's so and the characters like Die Hard Man and who else?
They're all like Anger Man, Beautiful Woman,
and they're modeled on real people.
Hero, Sam Porter,
Motorcycle, Sam Porter Bridges,
Mailman.
Yeah, who's the other? Yeah, I don't even know the rest of them.
You could just make up a name. And
you really could. You just put it in the Kojima name generator.
Yep.
Beer Man.
Hello, I am Internet
Duff
guy.
Man. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Long Walk Man. And the characters are modeled off of real actors. So Sam Porter Bridges is Norman Reedus from what's it called? Walking Dead. And then Benicio del Toro, is that the other guy who's in there?
He's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the characters. So I'm watching Hideo Kojima's fetish for
Guillermo del Toro.
I'm sorry, yes, Guillermo del Toro.
Yep.
So I'm watching Hideo Kojima's fetish for seeing Norman Reedus in the shower, and you can't skip these cutscenes. They're just going and going and going. They have to tell me why they're recycling my pee and my poo, and so I can turn them into usable things. And now they got to study all my body fluids and things like that. And I'm just like, what? That's
what makes it unique, right? It's like, God, what a weird experience.
It's very weird.
This is not Immortal Phoenix Rising.
No, it's not. It's super weird.
Yeah.
And your missions are walking
and surviving falling whales from the sky.
I haven't experienced that yet. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you also have a magic fetus strapped to your chest.
That's right. I forgot BB. This
Norman Reedus and the amazing, fantastic fetus.
See, this is why I'm going to remain the producer. Because when this kid starts crying, I just have to like hold the square button and then shake my controller as violently as possible to get the thing to shut up.
But but you can't shake it too hard. You got to like gently shake it. Have you not had that experience?
I do not understand that concept.
Like it actually wants you to like find a middle ground for shaking the baby, so you don't shake it too hard or too soft.
Really?
If you want to calm down the baby, yeah.
Because I just hold the mic on my controller up to my face and I scream "shut up," and that doesn't work either. And I can't figure out why.
Stress out the baby, man. You're gonna have more whales falling from the sky if you do that.
I just got more tired thinking about that game. So for some reason, I'm putting myself through this again.
Nice.
And it's because, well, I guess I know the reason. I was listening to a podcast and they were discussing it again because the director's edition just came out, so I can upgrade for $10 if I want to play it on my PS5. And they were talking about some of the upgrades, like you get motorbikes and you can get metal legs that are run for you. And I think it was at that point I'm like, what's what am I missing in this game? What is going on? So I'm trying it, and I've had the best success with it when I don't pay attention to the story at all. I put on Hulu. I watch something else when these cutscenes are going on, because otherwise I just cannot hack it.
Well, if you want to play another game with extended periods of walking, a magical fetus, but with a bit more spice to it and like engagement, and no half-hour cutscenes,
don't like it. Maybe,
and a really awesome horse.
Okay,
that always has your back.
God, this is Shadow of the Colossus again.
You should play Shadow of the Colossus again, because that game is a work of art.
I have a hard time fighting against that because it's been mentioned so many times.
Yeah,
and it's
so good. It's short too. Like, it's not a long commitment.
4
hours. That's my timeline.
Matias can't beat a game in 4 hours. He's out.
I'm out.
Peace out.
Bye.
No Bejeweled for you.
No. Peggle was pretty good though.
Did you ever play like Round Guard? That was the one on.
No.
That one might have been on the Switch. One of those. It's like Peggle but with RPG elements. It was all right.
Sounds sweet.
Yeah, I think Round Guard is the name of it. It's on the Switch now. No, that was not the one that started on Apple.
The only reason I know what Peggle is and have played it a lot is because it was the one game I had on my original iPod back in high school. So because I had like a circular control scheme, just like the little Peggle launcher. So.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah. See, I never had the one with the circular. I started with an iPod Touch, which I can't even remember why I got that, but probably to listen to music. And I think I played, what was it? Incredible Fisherman or something like Ridiculous Fishing, I think it might have been, which is...
Oh, yeah, that was an awesome game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You had the upgrade elements. You could sequentially get the better lures and go deeper and deep.
Catch like thousands of fish in one cast.
Yeah.
It was a great game.
Yeah, so essentially you would press the button, you would cast your special lure and just try to get it as far down into
like the ocean
into the lake or the ocean of this giant abyss as possible without your line breaking. You would come back up, and then you would have to hook the fish on the way back up, and to do that you would just tilt the iPod it would use the gyroscopic controls and just tilt in your hand back and forth.
Awesome game.
All right,
Ridiculous Fishing.
Ridiculous Fishing.
Yep.
Go ahead and put that on your iPod 7 years ago.
I think it's still on the App Store.
It's for sure still on my iPad.
Yeah.
All right, so I think 2 people submitted questions. One of them was you.
Oh, yeah, questions.
And one of them was Justin. So I asked people if they wanted any questions answered. Oh, man, maybe it archived already. Oh, airplane mode is active. That's right.
You can't turn that thing on.
No, I cannot. Yeah, just kind of seeing if there's any questions anybody wanted answered. Next episode is going to have everybody, and we're going to hopefully resolve season 1. The next episode after that, I'm hoping will be like this, but with everybody that we can get together, and it's going to be kind of a party episode. We'll be drinking, hopefully eating a little bit, having a good time, lots of laughs, not playing D&D, just sort of hanging out and talking about what's going on. All right, look at this. You have a friend request. It looks like it's from me. Yeah, I'll accept that later.
I'll be your friend.
Thanks. All right. Matias asks, what will be the next Twin Portals campaign setting?
I'd like to know. I was originally leaning heavily towards the Wild Beyond the Witchlight, but after reading it, I'm not sure if I want to use that as a setting, maybe as inspiration for some encounters and sessions, but not as a whole Waterdeep-esque.
We stayed largely in the city, right? Didn't we go out a couple of times? We went underwater in that contraption, that Kavosh's
apparatus of Kavalish.
Of Kavalish, that's the one.
Yes.
We didn't do much of that. There was that. Was it a witch in the lighthouse or on the lighthouse? I can't remember.
A wizard.
Wizard
lady. Yeah.
Wizard lady. Is that the same thing?
It's a wizard.
Witch, warlock. I don't know. Anyways, we didn't do anything with that. I don't know why that just popped in my brain.
You gave it back to her. She still has it, as far as I know.
Yeah. But we stayed roughly within the confines of Waterdeep, right?
Actually, sorry, I just remembered you didn't give it back to her. You parked it in that cave underground and then left it there.
That's right.
I'm not sure if we ever addressed that, but
oh boy.
Anyway, sorry. What were we saying?
We're going to be paying return fees on that for a while.
Yep.
That's a bummer. So we stayed largely inside Waterdeep because Waterdeep's got a few different. We went to a farm. Was that farm outside Waterdeep?
Yes, it's east of Waterdeep.
East of Waterdeep. How far?
Like a mile or two.
So So we didn't venture too far away.
Nope.
Went back in time into some other planes and saw Santa, I think.
You went downwards a lot.
Downwards. A lot of time in the sewers.
Yep.
Sewers and dungeons and underground lairs.
That's the main direction in Waterdeep is down.
Yeah.
Or up.
What do you want to do next time? Where do you have grander ideas?
I don't know. I do. I have some pretty crazy ideas.
Okay.
I think I probably have to dial them in still because
Bring them back in.
That's kind of how my ideas usually go. It's like, oh, it'd be so cool if I could do this and this and this. And like, what if this crazy thing happened? And it's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Or like, has nothing to do with anything that's happened so far, Matias. Like, shelve that idea. And then I try to find stuff that actually relates to what you guys have shown interest in and what we've already done. So, I don't know. Like maybe something seafaring would be appropriate, at least initially.
Yeah.
Or something like extra planar related to the Feywild and other planes. Something to do with life and death, maybe, because that's kind of been a recurring theme of like death and resurrection.
It feels like we have kind of a big commitment down to make sure that Zay finishes her task of getting her brothers and sisters together. Is that what it was, if I remember correctly?
It was not to get them together.
To find them, or something about
like free them from their torment.
Free them from their torment. Okay.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that, though.
But it was like, but she's got 12 years to do it. Was that
13?
13 years. So that could recurring come up every so often, but it doesn't have to be a major focus. That can be like it's like a main quest, but it's down on the list a little bit.
Yeah, until you guys get sucked through a time portal and fast forward to 12 years.
Time portal fast
start the season.
God, that's right.
Get ready.
You'll just give us new stat sheets.
Yeah. Yeah, you all gain 1d6 less strength due to aging, or whatever the Dungeon Master's Guide says. Something like that.
That's right.
Aging rules. +1 wisdom, -4 strength or something.
Oh, no. Well, I'm more of a con-based character anyways. I don't care that much. I'm not doing any...
And those rules are silly anyways. I don't really buy into them. I'm more of like a Fable fan when it comes to like how characters progress. You know, like you can be like 80 years old and all wrinkly and just like this massively buff wizard.
Yep.
Fable. What a great game.
That was awesome. Those 3 games.
Yeah. But the first one just had something to it. It was a bit more crazy and like...
It was no one had done that before.
Yeah, right.
I tell stories about that too. It's like, I remember, I think it was in Fable 2, where you could just slaughter everybody in an entire town, buy all the properties, rent them or use them as businesses, and just have a forever source of income.
Yep.
Things like that. I remember having my mind blown when I would see characters loading and unloading goods into shops on a schedule. I'm like, how is this a thing? But now they do it all the time for like Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto, things like that. There's these giant online, always on worlds. The only other thing that comes to mind when I think about that is little Timmy selling the white kitten in Stormwind. He would always pop up at a certain time of day and make his routes. And so whenever I was in Stormwind out in World of Warcraft, I would just run around and see if I could find Timmy and find
the calico kitten and then sell it on the auction house for 10 gold.
Yeah, buy the white kitten. I'd go to the neutral auction house.
Smart.
There you go. Try to add a 0 to that.
Yep, those booty bay bucks.
Yep. Actually, I think I went to Gadget Zone most of the time, but I should
just extra work.
I know. I know. So no setting plans, places that you absolutely want us to go.
I have some ideas, but I don't want to spoil it.
What's your thoughts on overworld travel and overworld travel rules? Do you prefer to just do montage style? It's like, and you guys are there, or do you do like encounters, like random chance for encounters?
I think it depends on what the stakes are.
Yeah.
Like if you're on a time limit looking for something, I think it'd be fun to play with those mechanics more seriously.
Okay.
And have there be consequences to like poor planning or choices, and have that dynamic kind of play out.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. But if it's just like for the sake of it, I'm not super tethered to it. Whatever. It's just like more mechanics for what benefit? Like a sense of satisfaction that you made it 3 hexes instead of 6. I don't know.
And I understand that, and I agree with that. But there's still, I've never played a D&D game where somebody cared about overworld travel rules. Encumbrance is just not a fun thing. It's like playing D&D hardcore style for the reason of just suffering and monotony.
Right. Well, funny you mentioned it, actually. Like the original campaign that I wanted to use for Twin Portals, remember, was Tomb of Annihilation.
Oh, that's right.
Which is literally an overworld exploration campaign.
Yeah.
Like you're going into the jungles of Chult trying to find this tomb. And you're on a time limit, and that's why it's so dynamic, because like there's this death curse, right? And everyone who's been resurrected, like Lark, case in point, or Ilka potentially, are on a clock. Like they're going to just die.
Yep.
Forever. And so
forever. They're going to die forever.
For realsies. Capital D. And so it's like, like you're on like this time limit and you got to find this temple. And if you make poor choices, like you can have serious consequences for everyone who you know and care about who's been resurrected. And so like, yeah, it rewards like thinking cleverly and like using the rivers and the mountains to like navigate your path, and doing all that kind of stuff.
So
I'm
sorry.
Well, and the rules are so cool. Like there's been so much thought put into those rules as far as like, like how different like supplies and diseases will affect you and different monsters and their ecosystems and the way they all interact and like weather has a huge influence. And I don't know, that's really fun for me as a DM.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a fan of like rolling stuff, at least for like twin portals. Like I haven't really had random encounters happen. I've threatened it and I've alluded to it, but like I'm looking at the clock and at like our pacing and trying to gauge encounters that way, not based on whether or not you rolled a 2, except for maybe once in a while. Like if you guys are fucking around too much, that's what random encounters are good for, is like motivating the party to act.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if it's just for the sake of it though, nah, I don't know. I'd rather make something more handmade.
Yeah. I think my problem is that I spent so much time early on in video games that some of that stuff, like overworld travel, like you said it, me and open world games, I dig it. I love games that have good traversal. So things like Spider-Man or Just Cause, things like that, where it's interesting to get from one place to another. The journey becomes part of the game for me then, whereas in D&D there's just not much. I guess what else can happen? I mean, unless your plan is, we're starting now, we could get to our destination, or I have got 3 other things that we could veer off into.
Yeah.
And I'm okay if we getting to the destination is the end of the episode instead of the next step, Yep. I think it kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think you need to have a really well fleshed out world for that to be interesting.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like it's all scale, right? Like Waterdeep is a smaller setting, but it has just as much detail as a rich, big overworld might.
And the fact that it's got districts, it's like you have different environments then. It's like you've got snow and
like
jungle and desert.
And
underworld and all that stuff.
Time travel. Like it could be anything.
Yeah.
But like the risk of a big overworld is that stuff is kind of homogenized or not really detailed enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it would pay to have like a really, like if I was going to do that, I'd want to like really think through the history of this place and try and like allude to stuff all around you with each step of the journey. Like, like you see these ruins that remind you of this or that, or these monsters seem hungry because of so-and-so, or like you're being pursued by someone because of the, like there's all the different things that tell a story without like it just being, I move into forest tile number 2,
Oh no, we died at forest tile number 3 last time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a roguelike adventure. How about that?
There we go.
You want to do a time loop adventure? That'd be fun. Like each session is the same day. Start at 8:00. Solve the mystery.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Oh, that's an idea.
That's in your brain now. Oh boy.
You should play, Scott. Or another video game suggestion. The Outer Wilds.
I have it. I've tried it. But I can't.
Game.
It doesn't hook me. I don't know.
It's hard to get into it because it takes a lot of engagement. You have to like, really think through it.
Oh,
like, I have a hard time getting to it.
Not my strong suit.
But like when you do sit down for like an hour or two and start to like really kind of like see how things connect, like wow, because that's a similar thing. It's like a time loop.
Yeah.
You have like 20 minutes before the galaxy dies, and you have to try and explore as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But you start to find like shortcuts and like ways around things that you didn't see before, and it all comes together, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I play Minute instead.
Minute, that's like that, but on an even smaller scale.
If you haven't seen Minute, I think you'd dig it. It's like old school 8-bit or less graphics, and you are alive for 60 seconds.
That rings a bell.
Yeah. And so you have to go to the place and get the sword, and within the first minute. And in 60 seconds, you're going to die. Now, if you have the sword when you die, you'll have the sword when you wake back up. So there's so you have to figure out certain puzzles, but you've only got a minute. And there's eventually get shortcuts, tunnels, warp zones, things like that.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's usually pretty cheap on Steam. I think it's on the old handheld Nintendo system.
Yeah.
You're scratching your lip. Are you listening for noises?
Oh, she's awake. She's crying up there.
No. Oh. Do you need to get up there?
Oh, Angela's up there. It's good.
Thank you, Angela, for letting us record down here.
Thank you, Angela. I love you.
Angela's amazing. All right, what was that other question that you had? Justin
There's
had
one for you and one for me. The one for me we already kind of addressed.
Which was what?
It was Matias. What elements of Dragon Heist didn't get as much attention?
Yeah, I was
as you were
gonna ask that
hoping,
too.
which is kind of what you asked. Like, what did we not explore or like deal with? As much as you wanted to.
And
you called it a failure. But.
I do, yes, because it was me personally failing. And you think I'm joking, but no, this is just my clinical depression.
I hear you.
Screaming through right now. Can I read the Dragon Heist book now?
No, not yet. Not until the next session, at least.
Okay, fine.
And even then, yeah, I think so. I mean, our campaigns diverged pretty heavily from the book at this point, so...
How many other resources did you use?
Lots. What
was like what were a couple of prime resources that you drew from?
Well, one really obvious one is the Tales of Candlekeep book.
Okay.
There's a session, a one shot. That's all one shots.
That's the suit that Mario wore in Mario. No, that's Tanuki. Never mind.
Tales of Candlekeep features a session written by a local writer from Superior. Her name's Vorgrith on our Discord.
Oh, that's right.
She wrote the highest level one shot in that session. It'd be really fun to play sometime.
Nice.
But anyway, there's one that was for like level 7 characters or so.
Mm-hmm.
But while I was thinking about our first episode coming back where we brought Lark back in the Feywild,
mm-hmm.
I started reading that book, and like mid developing this session about the Feywild and unicorns and corruption, there's literally a one shot in that book called The Lay of LaRue that is about unicorns in the Feywild and like Malar the Beast Lord. And I was like, oh, well, shit. Okay, I guess I don't have to do as much work this time. And so like I scaled it back a bit, and I brought in some more elements from our campaign, and I cut out a lot of extra stuff that was in that one shot, but I leaned onto that one shot heavily for that episode.
Nice.
Yeah. And just a bunch of stuff. There's a, don't ever go to it, but there's a website called The Alexandrian,
okay,
which is a personal blog that a guy runs, I believe, where he writes articles about D&D pre-written campaigns and his own campaigns and just
mm-hmm.
DMing in general. And he has like amazing breakdowns of many of the Wizards published adventures, where he like kind of just like goes through like each section and talks about like what works and what doesn't and how he do it better.
Ooh.
And ways to like make it more interesting or engaging if there's ever like kind of like lag, because there are a lot of lag.
So it's
points.
Like it's like hanging out with an actor watching theater.
Sort of.
Let me tell you how I do this.
It's kind of like the, I don't know what the right word for it is, like modding in PC gaming, you
mm-hmm.
know. It's like if there's like stuff that's just really frustrating in Skyrim, modders will like add to it.
Yeah.
You know,
kind of quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely that. And like I relied on his blog in many past games, but in Twin Portals he had some really good ideas about Dragon Heist and just some really nice breakdowns. Like in the Xanathar's Lair, for example, like he has that whole dungeon like spelled out. Like here's the total force of the Xanathar in each room.
Wow.
If the fight happens in this room, like this many people would probably hear it, and you'd probably run into a force this big, depending on how like what time of day it is and what's going on. He just like breaks it all down in extreme detail.
That reminds me of like Wikipedia entries, especially for ones about fictional battles. Like if you ever go down the Star Wars rabbit hole of Wikipedia stuff, like is Battle of Yavin, was that the first Death Star battle?
Yep.
There are meticulous notes about time signatures and who was where, because the world has been so fleshed out by so many different people that all this stuff just got dialed in. So this squadron was over this part of the Death Star at this time, while Luke was at this time doing this thing over here. So that's kind of what it sounds like. It's being oh my God, is talking not work for me sometimes. I just had a meltdown. So that's kind of, it reminds me of what you're talking about now, with just these layouts of, and also like historical battles on Wikipedia. Just like they'll have listings of forces involved, commanders involved, losses, things like that.
I haven't really gone down that rabbit hole, I don't think, even for Star Wars, which I've like really gone down the rabbit hole.
I think it's Wikipedia, if I remember correctly.
With 2 E's. Yep.
Yeah, but just like Google Battle of Yavin, and if I really hope I'm getting that right.
Yavin,
because it's
close.
Yavin.
Yep.
All right. Oh, I hear Eliza now.
Yeah.
There's some really in-depth stuff. So the notion that there's things like that for D&D stuff, and now I can't go to it because you're using it, you jerk.
Well, I mean, you could go. Just don't go to the Dragon Heist sections, I guess.
All right. Well, I don't know what else you're going to be pulling from.
Justin had one more question for you.
All right.
About.
Let's do it.
Here.
What's it say?
I'll read it to you.
You read it. Be an interviewer.
From Justin. From a producer's standpoint, how would you like Campaign 2 to differ from Campaign 1? Also, how are you planning to differentiate these episodes, Campaign 1/Campaign 2, or Season 1/Season 2, Arc 1, Arc 2? What do you think?
I have no idea. I'll be honest with you. Justin was so much smarter. He was a huge resource. Justin Peck was fantastic for getting the podcast set up. Mm-hmm. He did most of the back end stuff while we were just going, I don't know. I was trying to figure out what a pacemaker was, and you were busy with stuff. I'm assuming something to do with your child.
Beauty and the Beast or something when we got started, probably.
Yeah, something like that. So,
which Justin was also doing.
Yeah, right. So what I'm hoping is to be able to dig into Lisbon a little bit. Lisbon,
capital of Portugal.
Liberated syndication, where we host our podcast. I want to get in there and see if there's ways to differentiate, possibly do things like time codes, things like that. I've got like one link to the Discord sitting in our descriptions right now, and I felt pretty smart being able to do that. So it might be as simple as just changing the titles, like season 2, episode 1, something like that, until I can dig into it. Yeah. I end up spending enough time packing, loading, setting up, playing, tearing down, reloading, unloading, putting it back in storage in my house, and then editing, that when it gets down to like the things like cleaning up the actual name of the podcast and doing stuff like that, I just end up finding I don't have time or interest in doing it just because I get tired or lazy.
Absolutely.
Or both. So
it's kind of like several jobs that you're taking on all at once.
I'm doing a couple.
Yeah.
But it's, I feel like I've let the team down in that side of it. But the truth is, when we started this, it felt like a proof of concept thing. It's like, we're going to try to see if we can do this. I never got out of that in my headspace. We're 2 grants later, where I've been blessed to receive $1,000 from the Arrowhead Regional Arts Council, which hooked us up with some of the equipment we're using now. Then the Minnesota State Arts Board decided that we were arts worthy enough that they gave me another $6,000 so that I could buy more equipment and pay the players and do other things with it. But I still have continued to feel like this was just a proof of concept, like we could actually do something.
Yeah.
Now for season 2, I've never spent money on advertising. I've extremely lazy about advertising the episodes when they do come out. I'm kind of just in my groove of, all right, we'll do a post on Facebook, maybe something on Twitter, maybe something on Instagram, yada yada. I've never put like a full shoulder push into advertising our thing, and I feel bad about that. But it's me having so many doubts about the work I'm doing on the producing side of it that makes me go, we're not ready to push. We're not ready to push. We're not ready to push. But I think
you're doing an awesome job on the producing side of it.
I appreciate that, but that compliment will never penetrate my skull.
That's fine. I'll keep saying it until it forms a warm coat around your skull.
I don't understand how that works. I'm really hoping that I get my shit together and can actually start doing this for season 2. Because that's how I started listening to this. I didn't start listening to AC Inc. when they were recording in their break room around a card table with a whole bunch of mics set up and all cramped together. I started listening to it when they were at Benaroya Hall in front of 3,000 people. Right. And that's the sound I heard. And I loved the stuff and I love the things. And so what I want to do is I want to go into season 2. Hopefully, we haven't decided this yet. I want to hopefully keep going in with the characters we have and continuing a story. But even if not, we are now talented and skilled and practiced enough to have a good podcast, a good sounding podcast. We're not talking over each other, where we all understand that we each get beats, that we each have strengths and weaknesses as people and as characters, and we can get through this and make this entertaining and worthy of everybody listening to. I want to do that. I want for season 2, episode 1, and push it out there hard and say, hey, this is a thing we've been doing for a while, and this is how we sound now. If you want to go back and listen to the old stuff, there's a producer's note about why the sound quality is so different. And you can follow the journey as we went through 3 years, a couple jobs, some kids, and a pandemic.
Do you think so if I agree that I think season 2 will be probably our best opportunity to market and push the show.
Yeah.
To a bigger audience. Do you see significant changes to the format of the show, like as far as like length of episodes for season 2, to try and make it more palatable? Because I feel like that's at least like in the podcasting world, it seems like there are like pretty strong guidelines as far as like getting people to buy in if the episode length is shorter, you know? And I don't know what the exact science is behind it, but
I don't either.
Yeah.
But what I think the guide I will go by is how long is Critical Role per episode.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, people still listen to it, and it's just fine listening to it.
It's just, There, I mean, I don't, especially for us, I don't think we would be better served by shorter episodes. I could find places to artificially cut to say, all right, and this is gonna be a 30-minute episode of a 2 hour recording we did. We'll get 4 episodes out of this. I could do it that way, but that seems disingenuous to me because coming from the theater world, I have a respect, appreciation, and a love for the energy of a moment. Now, we're not going to be able to ever get a big build up every 30 minutes over a 2 hour session, you know, a big conclusion. We usually have pretty good punches out of our episodes.
Right.
And maybe it's just been accidents this whole time, which I completely believe is possible. That
I think everyone has pretty good like instincts too, as far as like, you know, finding a kicker, finding a button.
Yeah. Once we have a timer going and we know roughly when we want to get out, and once the timer's down, we have to start looking for a way out, and we all end up doing that. You do a good job of really tightening us in as far as what's happening in the show, and we start looking for buttons. We start not saying, all right, I'm going to examine this door for 30 minutes. You know, we start just kind of streamlining it and looking for our way out. And we find the way out, we find the cut point, and then we're out. I don't agree with the notion that a podcast has to be a certain length. There should be a certain length. There's probably pretty good science out there that says you'll get more listeners if it's X minutes long. But as long as I can pause on my app, I can close my app and it'll pick back up. I am perfectly capable of hitting the back button 6 times, going back 2.5 minutes, and figuring out where I am. So
I think people are coming around to that more and more too over time.
Yeah.
Like just having a pause button, you know, and like being able to save your progress in the podcast, because in D&D podcasting, there's a wide gamut, right? And I think more of them are leaning towards longer episodes now too. Like there's kind of Adventure Zone on one end, and I'm not even sure if they're super prolific these days with new episodes.
You've got a wider breadth of podcasting experience as far as listening. I listen to like 4. I listen to this one. I listen to some fantasy football ones. I listen to some gaming ones. Sure. None of them go under an hour. Well,
the main difference is there's the big campaign oriented, like this is D&D. We're telling a story, having fun, and that's kind of what Twin Portals falls under. Is these like longer episodes, pretty authentic gameplay. Then Adventure Zone is still a very authentic campaign, but like they're all such like improv kind of stand-up comedy guys that each episode is only half an hour, and it feels like an improv show. Like the reason they can they don't have like a huge arc necessarily in each episode, but just like the comedy and the jokes, like there's like a, you know, like a lead in the beginning of they shoot the shit a bunch in the beginning of the episode, and then there's like a callback in the end of the episode, and that's their kicker, and it's 30 minutes, and that's it.
Yeah,
you know, like that's kind of the arc of their format.
Yeah, so. That sounds entertaining to listen to, but I don't think it would be that fun to play for us. I think what we're doing is really solid.
Yep,
especially for us. I mean, we have our, like I said, our strengths and our weaknesses. The worst part right now is that the room that we typically record in is either very warm or that's it. It's only ever very warm, and we have to turn off the air conditioning. Otherwise, it will just drone. It's extremely loud in that room.
So if anyone has ideas for a recording space that we could access about once a month,
I'm very much hoping that this problem will be solved, hopefully sometime early next year.
Yeah.
No promises yet, but that's when I'm in this insane housing market as well, and every place I look at, I'm like, could I feasibly sound treat this room? It would be a combination podcasting room and gaming room, essentially. The one house that I really, really loved and I missed out on had this fantastic room.
Awesome.
With a huge, like a space for a good long sort of table, which would have been just epic for our uses.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
Didn't work out, but it's always in my brain. So, and I'm hoping sometime next year. Do you want to talk housing market shit? You want to vent about that?
Maybe off air.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, there's 2 more pieces. Well, maybe 3 more pieces to this podcasting puzzle. 1, hopefully will be covered in the next grant. 2 will hopefully be covered when I can pull a trigger on a house. And then 3 is me setting up an LLC.
Nice.
So those are the last parts of this plan, and then we have to keep making content for another couple of years.
I'm all yours, man.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
All right.
Telling stories.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No. Let's get out of here.
Twin Portals is produced and edited by Scott Hebert. The adventure is created by our Dungeon Master Matias Valero, and the rest of the Silver Waves of Justice are played by Kendra Carlson, Beth Brophy, and Justin Peck. Scott Hebert is a fiscal year 2021 recipient of a Creative Support for Individuals grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board. This activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Previous support was made possible by the Arrowhead Regional Arts Council, and my sincerest thanks to those two boards for their support. Thank you to Leland Campana for use of his Song of Vernim as our theme song. Thank you to the Renegade Theater Company, Tiacha Zacconi, and Mary Fox for their support. And once again, thank you all so much for listening to Twin Portals.
It's really awkward. Okay,
this is
done.
Yeah, how do we get out of this episode?
And that's the button. See, we're so good at buttons.